State your name and where you're from.
My name is Daniel Henrique. I'm from Tiverton, Rhode Island.
And what branch of the military are you from?
So I'm currently in the Massachusetts Army National Guard.
Okay. How long have you been part of the National Guard?
So in total, this August was my 13-year anniversary. So a little bit of time now.
Okay. So it's Veterans Day, and today I want to discuss your views on Veterans Day and also where you started and where you are now, and your stories in between. So I want to talk about the day you enlisted. Take me back to that day. What do you remember from that specific day when you enlisted?
So it was August 8th, 2007. I'd been back and forth debating on what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have for a career path. Weighing my options, looking at all the benefits, in the different branches. And then I ended up joining the National Guard. I took a look at the educational incentives, and I decided that was a route that I wanted to go. It's something I had debated for, a long time. I was 20 years old. I went to tech school in North Carolina for about a year. I came home and, the military was always something I wanted to do. So I decided, it was actually pretty quick. I went up, took the ASVAB, and then literally 2 weeks later, I was leaving for MEPS to in-process and, get my physical and all that and enlist. Was
this something you wanted to do?
It is, always. I remember growing up as a kid, every Halloween I was always in military attire, and both of my grandfathers served for a long time, so it was something that was always in the family. And then I juggled back and forth with it, and at the end of the day I was like, it's something I feel like I have to do. It's something I want to do. And I fell in love with it, what I did. So 13 years later, I can't imagine doing anything else. So.
Of course. Any roots in the family? What's your family's history when it comes to military?
Yeah, so my grandfather was actually in a field artillery unit in Massachusetts for 32 years.
Wow.
So I remember being a small child and seeing him in uniform, and he was my grandfather and he was still in uniform. He was in for a long time. And then my grandfather on my mother's side of the house, he joined the Marine Corps before he was 18 years old, and then got out of the Marine Corps after his stint in World War II, and then literally walked across the street and joined the Navy.
Wow.
So and then he was in the Navy for, I think he had 20 years total time, and then, he took a job contracting.
So this was his life, for the most part, was, serving for this country.
It was, and I remember, growing up, hearing all of his stories and how much he enjoyed it and seeing the pictures, and I think kind of bred it into me. That's what I want to do, with my life, so. Yeah, it made the choice easy. So
your role model is someone to look up to, your image.
Exactly.
Great. Let's talk about where you've traveled. So, where in the world were you stationed?
So, all of my time has been with the National Guard.
Okay.
I've been AGR, Active Guard Reserve, for the National Guard for about 10 years of the 13. In that time frame, my career path it's a little bit different than a traditional guardsman. But again, I enjoy it so much, I wanted the full-time aspect. So, all over really. I mean, the basic training, I went to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then AIT, I was in Virginia for my individual training for the job that I selected. And then after that, came back to my unit with the National Guard, and then, I was in a medevac unit, so we deployed. In 2011 and 12. So we went to Afghanistan. We flew medevac there for a year. And it was probably the most fulfilling 12 months of my entire life.
Yeah.
So I loved the mission, really enjoyed the mission, loved the people that we work for. I loved the team that we worked in. Came back, and then about a year later, I went to the enlisted flight instructor course after that. So at that time I was teaching other flight medics and crew chiefs how to operate in the back of the helicopter.
Wow, that's wild.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a passion. And then the opportunity came up to travel to Guam I took a job in Guam for 3 years. They were starting an aviation unit out there. They were the last of 54 states and territory to receive an aviation unit. So, talked with my wife Bria. She was also in the Guard at the time, and I said, we have this opportunity. Why don't we go for it?
Is that where you guys met?
So
Did
no,
you meet in the Guard, or
we did. We met in the Guard.
Oh, okay.
So we actually met in the Dominican Republic when we were working there. So 3 years, we traveled to Guam. And it was a good 3 years. So
absolutely, it's obviously, it's a lot different when you're in Guam or Afghanistan. Compare that to like everyday life here, of what you've seen.
So I think in total, the military gives you a different perspective on life. It really makes you appreciate everything you have and everything you work for.
Okay.
And I think it gives you a greater love for other people and human beings that you're around. So that, to me, is the biggest takeaway from all of it.
What does Veterans Day mean to you?
So, to me, I'm typically very quiet. I like to be around my family, my community. But to me, it's a day that I look back on all the veterans of the past.
Okay.
What lessons can I take away from them?
So Dan, before we go, I just want to ask, what would you say to those who are maybe thinking of enlisting, thinking of joining the military? It's definitely a different time than it was back in the 70s, 80s, 50s, 60s. What would you say to those young men and women who are maybe just coming out of college or are thinking of, right from high school, they want to join the military?
Absolutely. So take a look at the benefits. The benefits now are significantly different than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. If you take a look at the Massachusetts National Guard website, you're looking at, for a student that's coming out of college, they're running a $50,000 student loan repayment program right now, which is huge because you're going to have, kids coming out of school with this mass amount of student debt that's going to take them a long time to pay off. So, you're talking $50,000 makes a big difference. And if you qualify for that, you also qualify for a $20,000 cash bonus. So, along with that, the Massachusetts National Guard also offers state tuition and fees waived for 28 state schools in Massachusetts. So there's a ton of benefit to include health insurance, life insurance. So for a part-time job, it's essentially full-time benefits for a part-time job. So you're missing out. If you have student debt or you're thinking about going to school, it is a really good option. My wife and I both got our degrees, through the National Guard, and we're debt-free, and we're living significantly more comfortable than a lot of other individuals are. Sure.
Dan, your final message to veterans out there?
Happy Veterans Day. I'm happy to be here. So have a good day.
Dan, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service. And today on Veterans Day, we honor those who are still with us and who have gave the ultimate sacrifice. And Dan, it's a pleasure, being able to talk to you for these few minutes and just kind of getting to know you better as who you are, what you've done, and who you've become.
No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.